Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my CH Hanel. Enjoy the listening. The vanished Earthship returns armed with alien tech beyond imagination. The first indication was a distortion on the long-range sensors. Commander Alen Rai of Earth Orbital Defense Station Alpha 7 was reviewing routine scan data when the anomaly appeared. A ripple in space-time that shouldn't exist according to every physics model in the database. "What the hell is that?" she muttered, enhancing the sensor feed. The ripple expanded, folding space in ways that made her eyes hurt just looking at the visualization. Lieutenant Park glanced over from his station. "Commander, I'm getting quantum signatures that match." "Wait, that can't be right." "Spit it out, Lieutenant." "It's the ESV Pathfinder, sir. But that's impossible." Commander Rai felt her blood run cold. The Pathfinder was Earth's most advanced research vessel, dispatched on a deep space mission to investigate an anomalous signal at the edge of the solar system. After 6 months of regular communications, the ship had simply vanished. Search parties found nothing. Memorial services were held. Families grieved and tried to move on. "Sound general quarters," she ordered, "and get me fleet command." Within minutes, the orbital defense grid was at full alert. Military vessels scrambled to form a perimeter around the spatial distortion as it continued to expand. Scientists across Earth trained every instrument they had on the phenomenon, recording data that contradicted fundamental laws of physics. Then, like a ghost materializing from the void, the ESV Pathfinder emerged. At first glance, it appeared to be the same ship that had departed Earth 3 years earlier. The familiar cylindrical hull with its prominent sensor arrays and engine modules was unmistakable. But as imaging systems focused on the vessel, disturbing differences became apparent. The hull was covered in geometric patterns that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. Where there should have been standard thrust ports, there were now pools in crystalline structures that emitted no visible exhaust, yet somehow propelled the ship. Most disturbing were the sections that appeared translucent one moment and solid metal the next, as if the very matter of the ship existed in multiple states simultaneously. "We're receiving a transmission," Lieutenant Park announced, his voice unsteady. It's using Pathfinder's command codes." The main view screen flickered to life, and a collective gasp filled the command center. Captain Sophia Chen of the ESV Pathfinder looked back at them, but she was changed. Her eyes contained geometric patterns that shifted and swirled with impossible colors. When she spoke, her voice carried harmonic overtones that seemed to bypass the audio system and resonate directly in the minds of everyone watching. "Earth Command, this is Captain Chen of the Pathfinder. We have returned with gifts beyond human understanding. Prepare a reception team. We have much to share." The transmission ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Dr. Marcus Way led the specialized boarding team assembled to investigate the Pathfinder. As Earth's foremost expert on xenobiology and advanced physics, he was the natural choice to head the mission. Beside him stood Major Samantha Rodriguez, commanding a squad of elite soldiers equipped with the most advanced defensive technology Earth could provide. "Remember," Dr. Way cautioned as their shuttle approached the Pathfinder's docking bay, "we follow containment protocols to the letter. Anything they've brought back could be dangerous in ways we can't predict." Major Rodriguez nodded grimly. "My team is ready. Let's just hope your vacuum-sealed suits can protect against whatever they've encountered out there." The docking procedure went smoothly, too smoothly, considering the Pathfinder's bizarre modifications. As the airlock cycled, Dr. Way's instruments began registering impossible readings. The air composition was standard, but his quantum field detector was showing patterns that, according to current physics, shouldn't exist in our reality. "Stay alert," Major Rodriguez warned her team as the inner doors opened. They were greeted by Lieutenant James Aucaffer, the Pathfinder's chief engineer. Like Captain Chen, his eyes contained swirling patterns, and when he smiled, his teeth seemed momentarily translucent. "Welcome aboard," he said, his voice carrying the same strange harmonics they'd heard from Captain Chen. "Captain is waiting in the main research lab. Please follow me." The corridors of the Pathfinder were simultaneously familiar and alien. Standard Earth design was now interwoven with materials that defied analysis. Surfaces that appeared solid to the eye registered as non-existent to scanning equipment. Lights pulsed with patterns that seemed to communicate information directly to the observer's subconscious. "What happened to you out there, Lieutenant?" Dr. Wei asked as they walked. Aakaffer smiled. "We found them, or rather they found us, the architects." "The architects? That's what we call them. It's not their real name. Their real name can't be expressed in human language or mathematics. They exist differently." The main research lab had been transformed into something that barely resembled its original configuration. The center was dominated by what appeared to be a sphere of liquid metal, suspended in midair without any visible support. The sphere pulsed with internal lights that moved in complex patterns, and occasionally sections would become transparent, revealing intricate geometric structures within. Captain Chen stood before this sphere, her hands moving through complex gestures that seemed to affect the patterns within the metallic orb. She turned as the team entered, her impossible eyes focusing on Dr. Wei. "Dr. Wei," she said, recognizing him instantly despite never having met him before. "Your reputation precedes you. Your work on quantum entanglement communication was what drew their attention to us in the first place." Dr. Wei felt a chill run down his spine. His research on quantum entanglement communication had been classified at the highest levels. He had published nothing on it in the open scientific literature. "How do you know about my work?" he asked. "The architects know everything about humanity," she replied simply. "They've been watching us for millennia, waiting for us to reach a certain threshold of understanding. Your work was the final piece they needed to see." Major Rodriguez stepped forward. "Captain Chen, with all due respect, you and your crew need to submit to medical examination and debriefing according to protocol." Chen smiled, an expression that conveyed both warmth and something alien. "Of course, Major, we expected no less. But first, allow us to demonstrate what we've brought back." She gestured to the metallic sphere. "This is just one of their gifts to us. A computational engine that processes information not by binary logic, but by quantum probability manipulation. It doesn't calculate answers. It collapses wave functions to make the most probable outcome become reality." Dr. Wei stared at the sphere, his scientific mind racing to comprehend what she was describing. "That's impossible. You're talking about reality manipulation, not computation." "The distinction is meaningless at their level of technology," Lieutenant Aakaffer explained. "To the architects, thought and reality are the same thing. Their technology doesn't operate by mechanisms. It functions through pure mathematical principles." Captain Chen approached the boarding team. "We understand your caution. We would feel the same in your position. But what we've brought back isn't a threat. It's salvation. Humanity stands at a crossroads, and the architects have given us the means to take the path to the stars." She reached out her hand, and the air around it seemed to waver. "Let me show you." Before Major Rodriguez could object, Chen's fingers brushed against Dr. Wei's environmental suit. Instantly, his mind was flooded with images, equations, concepts that expanded his understanding of physics in ways that felt like his skull would crack from the pressure. He saw star systems, alien worlds, civilizations that had risen and fallen over millions of years. He saw the architects, not as physical beings, but as patterns of information and energy that moved through reality like thoughts through a mind. And he understood. When he came back to himself, he was on his knees, Major Rodriguez supporting him as her team aimed weapons at Captain Chen, who stood calmly waiting. "What did you do to him?" Rodriguez demanded. "I showed him the truth," Chen replied simply. Dr. Wei struggled to his feet, his mind still reeling from what he had experienced. "She's right," he gasped. "They're not hostile, they're teachers." "The architects found us drifting at the edge of the solar system," Chen explained. "They recognized in humanity a potential they hadn't seen in thousands of other species. They took us, studied us, taught us, changed us, and now they've sent us back as messengers." "Messengers of what?" Major Rodriguez asked, still suspicious. Captain Chen's impossible eyes seemed to look beyond the physical world as she answered. Of the choice humanity must make, to remain bound to Earth, fighting over dwindling resources until we destroy ourselves, or to accept their gifts and join the greater community of sentient beings among the stars. The metallic sphere pulsed, and for a moment, everyone in the room could see through the walls of the ship to the stars beyond. Not as they appeared now, but as they would appear thousands of years in the future, with human vessels moving between them, carrying a civilization that had transcended its cradle. "This is just the beginning," Captain Chen said quietly. "The real work starts now." The transformation. News of the Pathfinder's return spread across Earth like wildfire. Despite the military's best effort at containment, footage of the modified ship leaked online, followed by speculation about what the crew had encountered. Within days, governments worldwide were holding emergency sessions. Corporations were scrambling to position themselves for potential technological windfalls, and religious leaders were grappling with the theological implications of advanced alien contact. The Pathfinder remained in orbit, surrounded by a military cordon, while its crew underwent extensive examination. Medical scans revealed modifications to their neural pathways that defied current understanding of the human brain. Their DNA showed subtle alterations that seemed to enhance cognitive function and cellular repair. Most disturbing to the examining scientists was the apparent ability of the crew to manipulate quantum fields through thought alone. Dr. Wei had become the primary scientific liaison with the Pathfinder crew, much to the chagrin of military and political leaders who questioned his objectivity after his experience with Captain Chen. But his unique understanding of what they had brought back made him irreplaceable. "They're still human," he insisted during a closed-door meeting with the United Earth Defense Council. "Changed, yes, but their loyalty to humanity remains intact. They've been enhanced, not replaced." General Helen Ortiz, chair of the council, leaned forward. "That may be, Doctor, but can we trust these architects who modified them? Advanced species don't typically share technology out of altruism." "According to Captain Chen, the architects don't experience motivations like we do," Dr. Wei explained. "They don't seek power or resources. They're so advanced that such concerns are meaningless to them. They operate on principles of cosmic gardening, for lack of a better term. They nurture promising species." "And if the species doesn't meet their standards?" asked the representative from the Asian Alliance. Dr. Wei hesitated. "They move on. They've done it thousands of times before." The council chambers erupted in argument. Some advocated for immediately weaponizing the alien technology. Others called for destroying the Pathfinder before its influence could spread. A few voices urged caution and continued study. Meanwhile, around the world, people were changing. It began with scientists and engineers who had direct access to data from the Pathfinder. After studying the leaked schematics and theories, they reported dreams filled with equations and designs. Some woke up with complete blueprints for devices that shouldn't be possible according to current physics. In a basement laboratory in Nairobi, a university student constructed a device that generated clean energy from quantum fluctuations in vacuum. In Shanghai, a team of programmers developed an algorithm that could simulate conscious thought. In Rio de Janeiro, a doctor created a treatment that could regenerate damaged neural tissue. None of these people had direct contact with the Pathfinder crew. The knowledge was spreading, transmitted through scientific discourse, through shared data, through the collective unconscious of humanity's brightest minds. And it was accelerating. 6 months after the Pathfinder's return, Captain Chen requested a meeting at the newly established Architect Technology Research Center in Geneva. Representatives from every major nation, corporation, and scientific institution gathered to hear what she had to say. The captain stood before them, her impossible eyes taking in the assembled leaders of humanity. Beside her was the metallic sphere, now housed in a specially designed containment field that did nothing to actually contain it. "You've made remarkable progress," she began, "faster than we expected. The architects are pleased." Pleased enough to finally meet with us directly? Asked the UN Secretary General. Chen smiled. They are meeting with you through us, through the technologies you've begun to develop, through the changes in your understanding. The architects don't exist as discrete entities the way humans do. They are patterns in the fabric of reality. Communication with them is not a matter of conversation, but of alignment. Dr. Wei stepped forward. What Captain Chen means is that by developing and integrating the technologies the Pathfinder brought back, we are essentially speaking the architect's language. Every breakthrough brings us closer to understanding them. And closer to becoming like you? A representative from a religious consortium asked, fear evident in his voice. Not exactly like us, Chen clarified. We were directly modified because we were the messengers. The rest of humanity will evolve more gradually, guided by the technologies we've brought back, but ultimately following your own path. The sphere pulsed and the room darkened. Above them, a three-dimensional projection appeared, showing Earth as it was now, and then as it could be in 10, 50, 100 years with the architect technology fully integrated. The transformation was breathtaking. Cities that existed in harmony with nature, transportation systems that moved through folded space, energy generation that left no waste, humans living in perfect health for centuries. This is the potential the architects see in humanity, Chen said softly, but there are other possibilities. The projection shifted, showing alternate futures. Earth depleted of resources, its environment collapsed, humans fighting wars with weaponized versions of architect technology. Extinction. The choice is yours, Chen concluded as the lights returned to normal. The architects don't impose their will. They offer possibilities and observe the choices that sentient species make. This is the real test, Dr. Wei realized aloud. Not whether we can understand the technology, but how we choose to use it. Captain Chen nodded. Precisely. The Pathfinder was just the beginning, a proof of concept that humanity could grasp the principles behind architect technology. Now comes the harder part, proving that humanity deserves it. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. This wasn't just about new technology or first contact with an alien civilization. It was about humanity's future among the stars, whether they would rise to join a greater community of sentient beings or fall back into self-destruction. In the months that followed, tensions escalated as nations and corporations competed to develop and control architect-derived technologies. Attempts to weaponize the quantum manipulation abilities demonstrated by the Pathfinder crew led to localized reality distortions that claimed thousands of lives. Markets collapsed and reformed around new technological paradigms. Religious movements arose, proclaiming either salvation or damnation at the hands of the architects. Through it all, the Pathfinder crew remained neutral, offering guidance but refusing to take sides in human conflicts. They worked with any organization or individual who demonstrated a genuine desire to use the technology for advancement rather than dominance. Dr. Wei became their most trusted ally, working tirelessly to ensure that the knowledge was shared equitably. When corporations attempted to patent architect-derived technologies, he provided alternative methods to achieve the same results. When nations threatened war over access to resources needed for new devices, he demonstrated ways to synthesize those resources from common materials. 1 year to the day after the Pathfinder's return, the crew called for another global assembly. This time, they chose a location that raised eyebrows, a simple clearing in the Amazon rainforest, recently restored after decades of deforestation. As world leaders and scientific luminaries arrived by conventional transport, the Pathfinder crew had insisted on no advanced technology for this meeting. They found Captain Chen and her crew standing in a circle around the metallic sphere, which hovered above a bed of moss and flowers. "Thank you for coming," Chen greeted them. "Today marks an important milestone in humanity's journey." "What journey is that exactly?" asked the premier of the Chinese Federation, who had traveled 20 hours to reach this remote location. "The journey to determining your place in the greater community," Chen replied. For 1 year, we have watched how humanity has responded to the gifts of the architects. We have seen both promising developments and concerning trends. Lieutenant Akafer stepped forward. Some of you have used this knowledge to heal your planet and your people. Others have sought to weaponize it for dominance. Both paths were expected. Then why give us the technology at all? Demanded the American president, if you knew it could be weaponized. Because any sufficiently advanced technology can be used for creation or destruction, Captain Chen explained. The architects don't judge based on individual choices but on collective direction. And despite the conflicts and setbacks, humanity's overall trajectory has been positive. Dr. Wei felt a surge of hope. You mean we passed their test? The first test, Chen corrected. There will be many more as you advance. But yes, the architects have decided that humanity has shown sufficient promise to receive the next level of understanding. The metallic sphere began to pulse with increasing intensity. Geometric patterns spread from it across the ground, flowing like liquid light through the soil and plants. The assembled leaders watched in awe as the patterns connected with each other, forming a vast network that extended beyond the clearing and into the forest beyond. What you're seeing is a physical manifestation of what the architects call the connection, Chen explained. It exists everywhere, binding all matter and energy, all consciousness and possibility. Your scientists have glimpsed aspects of it in quantum entanglement and unified field theories, but this is its true nature. The patterns reached the feet of the assembled humans and began to climb their bodies. Some reacted with fear, trying to step away, but found they couldn't move. Others watched in fascination as the light patterns merged with their skin, momentarily revealing the complex networks of nerves and blood vessels beneath. Don't be afraid, Dr. Wei called out, having experienced something similar during his first encounter with Captain Chen. They're not changing you, they're showing you. For a brief moment, every human present experienced a glimpse of the universe as the architects perceived it, not as separate objects and empty space, but as a single, interconnected pattern of information and energy, constantly evolving, constantly creating. They saw their own place within this pattern, small but significant, a nexus of possibility with the potential to grow into something beautiful and powerful. And they understood that the technology the Pathfinder had brought back wasn't separate tools to be used, but aspects of this underlying connection, waiting to be recognized and integrated into human civilization. When the vision faded, the metallic sphere had disappeared. In its place was a simple sapling, its leaves containing the same shifting geometric patterns they had seen in the eyes of the Pathfinder crew. This is our final gift, Captain Chen said, her voice now free of the strange harmonics that had accompanied it since her return. Her eyes, too, had returned to normal. A seed of the connection planted on Earth. As it grows, so too will humanity's understanding. And what about you and your crew? Dr. Wei asked, suddenly understanding what was happening. Our role as messengers is complete, she replied with a gentle smile. We will remain to help guide the initial integration, but we are human again. The changes the architects made to us were temporary, just enough to allow us to carry their message across the gulf of understanding. Lieutenant Akafer nodded. Now it's up to all of humanity to decide what to do with what we've brought back. The architects will be watching, but they won't interfere again unless invited. As the assembled leaders began to discuss the implications of what they had seen and experienced, Dr. Wei approached Captain Chen privately. Was it worth it? He asked quietly. 3 years of your lives, the changes you underwent, the burden of being messengers. Chen looked up at the stars, just becoming visible as dusk fell over the Amazon. We went looking for knowledge beyond Earth and found something far greater, a purpose for humanity among the stars. Yes, Dr. Wei, it was worth everything. Around them, the patterns of the connection continued to spread through the forest, subtly changing everything they touched, not by replacing what was there, but by revealing what had always existed beneath the surface of reality. A new chapter in human history had begun, one that would eventually carry Earth's children to distant stars as equals among the cosmic community of sentient beings. All because one small research vessel had ventured into the unknown and returned with gifts beyond understanding.